Hey guys, how are you today?
You good.
Hey, good to see you
Smart.
again.
You too. I was saying as I was talking to some of your colleagues that I was sure this was the final season before I logged on today, and it's like, from what it sounds like, it could be, and everyone will be happy, but there's also the chance for more, and it's really nice to hear that, you're taking this proactive approach to making sure we're all satisfied, just in case the universe, goes a certain way.
Yeah.
It's one of the things we have no control over. I think we dodged a bullet after season three, putting all those cliffhangers in there that we did get another season. But because there'd be nothing worse than not having already told, whatever that story might be. So without giving anything away, I will say, first of all, this is an incredible season, and I'm thrilled for people to see it. But also, when you get to the end, I think it'll be satisfying either way, whether we end up going forward or whether we don't.
Great. Well, I've seen the first four episodes and I want to talk pretty freely about those, and we'll hold this to make sure we don't spoil for everyone. But Harry is human, which I think is a lot of fun and not something I might have expected. When did you know, Chris, that you wanted that to be the case? And Alan, can you tell me how you're feeling about that?
Well, early on, I guess probably last June when creatively started, we knew we were getting picked up and then started the creative process of trying to figure out what the season is. We always start with Harry's journey and trying to figure out what he's up to, and each season it's helpful to have something to hang it on that's big and different. And it was an idea that came up, and the more I thought about it, about having Harry have to explore just being human without the training wheels of his alien energy around, it became more and more exciting to really fill out this story of Harry gaining empathy and humanity and taking him to that next level, which is what does he do when he can't fall back on his alien energy to make him feel like himself? What is Harry without it? And what is Harry when he's now just has the human energy, and how does that change his character, or does it change his character? Or does it open him up more to be um, more empathetic and caring? So it was an exciting big idea, and we sort of just ran with it. And it not much of a spoiler, but it's not all season. That it is some of the season. So it's not like we're going fully away from this character that Alan helped create. But it was a good way to help tell this story about humanity.
It was someplace that it makes sense that that's where Harry was going to go. I mean, in that every season that's been his journey, learning about these humans since the very beginning and becoming, in season one, he'd been on Earth long enough that he started to turn human, that his device that would only kill humans burned him. And he knew that he was in now his makeup was
Yeah.
more human. It was infectious humanity. And so that he ends up becoming human in a way that I didn't expect, uh, was it makes sense. And it was interesting to do different scenes with people where I was able to access parts of myself as an actor that I couldn't as Harry. I always think of Harry as he's things kind of happen around him. He's got a high wattage. His laugh. Ha ha ha. What is that? It's his life force is bigger than the vessel that it's being contained in. And to be diminished in a way as to become losing those parts of himself puts him more in his body and more in his emotions. So I got to do and act in ways that I hadn't been able to before.
I like there's also still plenty of comedy, namely, seeing Heather and being entirely repulsed by all of that. I also love that, before this, when he was in prison, that Asta couldn't tell it wasn't him because he's always so over the top that, he was offended, but there's really, aside from the absurdly slicked back hair, it was all still the same dismissive, absurd stuff.
Yeah, she was a little out to lunch as far. I mean, that's smoking. Although, you know what? Because Harry is so insane, there's really nothing he could do that she would be like, "Oh, that's Harry." You know, He has always done crazy things. He built a bunker under his house so that they could live out the apocalypse. And then he wanted to have the apocalypse, like set it off. Yeah, so yeah, it was great.
It looks
Oh,
like
we
it's just
lost
us.
Chris.
Chris, he's
He
done with
said
the show.
he froze, so he's gonna leave and come back.
Okay. Okay, great. Let's talk about Chris. What
Yeah,
do you
well, I actually said Chris was the last person I talked to for the show. I had the chance to talk to you a few times, talk to the rest of your cast, and it's like you all have such clearly have such a good time. What is Chris like as a showrunner?
He's very hands-on. He is in it in every detail. Because I directed the first two episodes, I got to see that more so than I understood. But I also, got to see all of the people who work on the show and got to work with them, our production department, and all the artists and artisans who will make it happen and who have the ideas that end up in the show. Uh, Everybody contributing, that I was thinking when I made it that, a director, you've got authority, you're in charge of so many things, but and as an actor, you think you're the show, you think you're important. I really, after directing, I was like, after those episodes, I was like, actors, they're maybe, I was thinking they would be the icing on the cake, but it's more like they're the sprinkles on top of the icing because it's not even like the cake is so much is made before the actors get there. And they just swan in with their little juices and green juices and where do I stand and I need more makeup on. Yeah, it was it was great to get to direct. I see it a whole new way.
We were talking about you also, Chris, as a showrunner, because you left, so we figured, better to ask some
Sorry
questions.
about that.
Before I let you go,
Yeah.
what could you say about Alan as a director?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, Alan has always been a big part of the creative process and has always added so much, not just I mean, so much comedy, but also, so much. He's really good at storytelling and really gets this character and has added so much as far as the progression of where it should go. But to have him directing was that, but on a even smaller level all the time in a more, which is within scenes. And certainly some of the comedic bits that he came up with while shooting is stuff that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So it was so much of the stuff with Enver, which is so funny in episode two. So much of that was Alan just on the day figuring stuff out, and it was great having him. It was great having him as a director. I mean, he found so much extra stuff directing that we otherwise wouldn't have had. So it was great.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of this season and hopefully more after that. And hope to catch up again with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Abe.